What is up, Edison duelists? This is Dionysus, aka Young Puds, coming at you guys with some more shameless, hypebeast, Gigavise content. So on yesterday's video, I saw a comment from user OscarNator, and OscarNator was asking if he could see some of the more in-depth, maybe a little complicated, maybe a little crazy lines, and it's as though the stars aligned, folks, because I actually played two matches last night that have some interesting lines. So I thought we could go through these games, and I will definitely be pausing the video, giving you guys a chance to figure out what you would do. So we're going to have a little puzzle action, but let's just jump right into the video. So we are seeing our opening hand here against our Vayu Turbo opponent. We have that Threatening Roar, Raigeki Break. Those are two traps that I'm always happy to see. Our opponent did win the die roll, and they are just going to open with a perfectly defensible standard play, set Raikou, set Dust Shoot, pass it back to us. And right off the bat, we are going to draw our sixth card for a turn, and what is our opponent going to do? He's going to flip the Dust Shoot, and that has got to be disappointing when we show him our hand of 6 spells and traps. And here's the thing, folks. This is something that just happens a lot. We only play 9, 10, 11 monsters, depending on your list, depending on your build. So the odds of Dust Shoot just blanking like that is pretty high. He is going to get the free information, seeing Raigeki Break, seeing T-Roar, but I'm frankly just not too concerned about that. Now, we are going to get our Upstart Goblin draw, and then we are going to fire a Gold Sark. Here, I just want a Gold Sark for Lonefire. Super Solar Nutrient kind of represents a Lonefire, but I don't feel it's reliable enough. Also, Raigeki Break, that Super Solar is looking like the best thing to discard with Raigeki Break right now. So I definitely am not in a position where I already have Lonefire, so I can go for like a Hidden Armory or something. So I definitely think Gold Sark for Lonefire is going to be correct here. Anyways, after that, we are just going to pass. I have a read that this is a Raikou. A deck like Frogs probably isn't playing Dust Shoot. So I think of the decks that are going to be setting a monster and then also having Dust Shoot, I think it's most likely Vayu. And I just don't want to set Threatening Roar or Raigeki Break into a Raikou. I really don't like, just Threatening Roar gets popped early and I have to flip it. And sure, it saves one battle phase, but I want Threatening Roar to save the battle phase. I want it to stop my opponent when they have a push for game, and then I'm going to crack back and win. So Threatening Roar doesn't seem too impactful here. Raigeki Break also, I don't want to just chain it to discard a Super Solar Nutrient and just lose it to the Raikou. So instead, we are just going to try and push our luck a little bit, hope we don't get OTK'd, and just go from there. Also, if we are able to live on this one turn, if our opponent cannot assemble game, then we are definitely going to be having the Threatening Roar letting us live long enough to get the Lonefire. So that's my plan. If you don't like it, I don't care. I think it's a good plan. And look, our opponent is just going to Armageddon Knight for the Necro Gardener. Necro Gardener always going to present a problem for us in Grave. Makes it harder to do a Colossal Fighter Armory Arm line. Makes it harder to find game. And what do we draw but another Threatening Roar? So definitely not super stoked to see that, but I am just going to go ahead and set and pass. Our opponent knows our whole hand and the fact that we're only setting one. Maybe he's thinking, okay, he drew into another trap, he drew into something else. So he is just going to play it very conservatively and just swing with his Armageddon Knight and then set another Raikou. So nothing wrong with that. And now here we do draw the Dandelion. So if we'd set that Raigeki Break already, that would be a really good position for us. Unfortunately, we didn't because I didn't want to lose it to the Raikou. It was a pretty low chance to draw the Dandelion. And, while 66% does round up to 100%, with 31 cards in deck and 2 Dandelion, that's like worse than 1 in 15 odds. And that actually rounds down to 0%, folks. So anyways, we do have that Miracle Fertilizer, so I am going to be comfortable summoning the Lonefire Blossom even without a Supervise. And we're just going to go into Titanial here, just try and eat through some of his resources, really kind of chew him out. I'm pretty confident that at least one of these is a Raikou because he hasn't flipped it yet. Maybe the other one's a Plague, but either way, I'm perfectly content just summoning the Titanial. So our opponent is going to draw. He's going to draw a Sirocco, and then we are going to just immediately gun that Raigeki break to pop one of the suspected Raikos. I'll do that first one because I am pretty sure that it is a Raiko. Of course, I'm right. When am I ever wrong, folks? And now we have tokens up for Titanial. So Titanial is going to be live. It is going to present a bigger problem. It's going to invalidate that brain control, that Gale, and also that second Raiko. And he is going to go ahead and fire the Raiko effect. We'll use Titanial. That's perfectly fine with us. And now our opponent is going to normal summon the Sirocco, special summon the Gale, and synchro summon a Colossal Fighter. He knows that we do have a Threatening Roar in the mix. So I think it's safe for him to assume that, but even then, a Colossal Fighter is going to present a little bit of a problem for us to get over. We're going to have to find our way to a Mark of the Rose or similar. He's going to try and swing over the Titanial, but we are going to Threatening Roar. I really like keeping the Titanial around, and now he doesn't set any back row. So we have our one token, our Titanial, and we draw into just about a perfect draw with Hidden Armory. So our opponent does have that 3000 attack Colossal Fighter. We have a Dandelion token, a Titanial, Giant Trunade, Miracle Fertilizer, Threatening Roar, Super Solar Nutrient, and Hidden Armory, with a Lonefire and Dandy engrave. Our opponent does have that Necro Gardener engrave, so just a straightforward Colossal Fighter Armory Arm line is not going to work here. Our life points are at 5200, our opponents are at 7600. Take the time, pause the video, come up with the best line that you can. I think it'd be really good to find something that's also going to play through Gore's Emissary of Darkness. Of course, our opponent doesn't have it, but seeing him pass on a relatively weak board like just Colossal Fighter, you definitely have to fear and respect Gore's. So take a few minutes, think out the line, think about what you would do here. And 3, 2, 1, let me show you what I did. I just want to give a disclaimer. I'm not sure this is the best line. I think there could be something that plays into Gore's just a little bit better. You do have the Threatening Roar, so it is all right. So let's see what we go ahead and do. We are going to first fire the Super Solar Nutrient, tribute the token for a Dandelion. What? Anyways, and now we'll Miracle Fertilizer for the Lonefire Blossom, and at this point, before we use Lonefire's effect or anything, we're going to fire the Giant Trunade, which is going to get us the Dandy back, as well as the Fertilizer back for later. That Dandy is going to give us 2 tokens, which then we can use the Super Solar Nutrient on one of them. We're going to tribute one of the tokens with Lonefire Blossom to get a Brionac, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. And then we are going to... I'm just pointing out that Copy Plant was level 3 to make the Brionac. And then we are going to Super Solar Nutrient, tributing the last Dandy token for Lonefire Blossom. Lonefire Blossom's effect is going to get us to Gigaplant. And here we are going to think just a little bit. Ultimately, I was maybe thinking about a Colossal Fighter line, but then I remembered, hey, he's got the Necro Gardener, so that's not going to be quite it for us. We're going to fire the Hidden Armory, and we are going to get a Supervise. We are going to equip the Supervise to the Copy Plant, and we are going to get a Power Tool Dragon. Here, I'm going to show him 2 Marks of the Rose. If I do miss and I hit that Supervise, that is okay, because we can just Brio, discard the Supervise to get rid of the Colossal Fighter. We do miss there, and now we are going to discard the Threatening Roar and then equip the Gigaplant with Supervise to bring out the Lonefire Blossom, fire Lonefire Blossom's effect, and he is going to scoop, telling us we didn't have Gore's. So I definitely think that was the highest ceiling start that I did there with the Super Solar Nutrient line into Dandelion, into Fert, bring back Lonefire, and then fire the Trunade. However, I do think there probably was a better way to play into Gore's. I'm not sure if it was making an Armory Arm and then instead of going Colossal Fighter, just going wide with a bunch of large monsters. We might not have had enough life points to do something like that. You might also have wanted to make an Armory Arm, equip it to one of your monsters before you go wide. And then that would still be able to play through Gore's. So let me know if you guys have a better line than what I came up with. I am never going to pretend like I am a flawless duelist. There's a lot I can learn, and I think this is a good case of that. Like I said, I do think that start was the highest ceiling start, but there is definitely some better options. Anyways, let's go right into game 2 and see how I handle the rest of this match. So here we're going to open, not the best. I like seeing the Foolish Burial with the Fertilizer. That's Lonefire access. We're really going to be hoping to draw something good off of Upstart. And our opponent is going to really get things going with that Greffer beginning to set up his Vayu cards. And then he's just going to set that one back row and pass. And we are going to draw into Titanial. This card loves being in my hand. We'll fire the Upstart Goblin and find our Book of Moon. Book of Moon is a card that I side in against decks that I am expecting to see Fossil Dyna in their sideboards. Fossil Dyna is definitely a big problem, so having a clean answer to it like Book of Moon is really good. I also think Book of Moon is a little more flexible of an answer. I can also use it for defense. It's nice against Gladiator Beast. It's nice against Black Wings. You can set their monster, prevent them from getting a Black Whirlwind Search. It also pairs really nicely with Mark of the Rose, where you can Mark of the Rose their monster and then Book of Moon, put it face down, and now you keep it forever. That can be really good into like a Vanity's Fiend. You'll mark their Vanity's Fiend, Book of Moon, put it face down, do your whole combo, and then flip summon Vanity's Fiend, and you're insulated from Gores. But anyways, here we are just going to go ahead and fire the Foolish Burial, activate Miracle Fertilizer, but our opponent is going to actually choose to Dust Tornado the Fertilizer. So that is definitely unfortunate for us. The silver lining is we do still have a normal summon available. So I am going to choose to set the Dandelion here. Maybe I can protect both of the tokens and just hard tribute summon a Titanial. Maybe I can draw into Supervise to tribute summon the Gigaplant. So definitely not feeling in the strongest of positions here, but it also might not be the end of the world. I'm thinking maybe we can live. However, our opponent has other ideas. He is going to discard that Vayu he drew to put the Plague Spreader Zombie in the graveyard. Now he's going to do the first Vayu for an Armed Wing. And instead of going completely wide, he is going to Plague Spreader here and play around the Mirror Force by making a Stardust Dragon. And then he is going to use that second Vayu alongside the Armed Wing to make an Armor Master. So definitely going wide, definitely giving us a lot of threats to think about. He's going to kill one of the tokens with the Armor Master, and we are going to use the Book of Moon to give us the token. With this weak hand, I'm kind of thinking, okay, like I definitely need a good draw. That's paramount, but then I also need to have something to do. So now I can draw into SSN, and that's going to be live. I can tribute summon the Gigaplant, that'll be live, but he adds a set Raikou on top of it, and drawing that DDR is absolutely no help. So we're going to scoop it up and go right into game 3. Let's see, will we have another exciting combo line? Will we get locked out by Floodgates? Will we brick? Will our opponent brick? Well, kind of a little bit of everything here. We do have a Threatening Roar, so we're not going to lose immediately. We have True Nated Heavy Storm to answer any back row, but unfortunately it looks like our opponent has drawn a Fossil Dyna. We do have the Nobleman of Crossout, so if maybe he sets the Fossil Dyna, we can knock it. But we are definitely hoping for good draws. Our draw for turn is going to help us. We do find the Lonefire Blossom with that, and then we're going to Upstart Goblin into a Gigaplant, which is an unfortunate draw. Now here, I am feeling a little saucy, a little greedy. I see that Threatening Roar in my hand, and I say, you know what? I am just going to go ahead and Lonefire Blossom into another Lonefire into Gigaplant. So this is definitely very, very aggressive, very, very high risk. I'm kind of thinking, okay, I think my opponent is going to have trouble answering a Gigaplant right away, especially if he doesn't have a battle phase. So I have Threatening Roar. And then the Gigaplant is going to live, and I'm going to be able to certainly clear any back row with Heavy Storm Trunade, and then I'm going to try and snowball into a victory there. But all of this is contingent on the Gigaplant surviving, and maybe you guys can already see what is going to happen to us. We'll set that Threatening Roar and pass it back to our opponent. And wouldn't you know it, he is going to draw a Solemn Judgment, which is going to go very nicely to protect his board after he Brain Controls to steal my Gigaplant. He'll punch me for 2,400 life points, and then he is going to tribute off that Gigaplant for a Sirocco. So definitely a pretty bad outcome for us. And then he is just going to set one, just the Deprison. Still a big problem, and now we're seeing a draw of Foolish Burial. I'm thinking, man, maybe it was incorrect to spend both Lonefire Blossoms. It'd be nice to, draw an SSN and go from there. But what can you do? No such luck at this time. And now our opponent is going to draw a Plague Spreader Zombie. You know, I'm glad he didn't have that last turn. I think dealing with a Synchro Summon 8, like a Stardust or something, would be even worse than just the Sirocco. But nevertheless, we are definitely still in trouble. He is going to go ahead and just attack with the Sirocco, give us 2,000 more points of damage, getting us dangerously close to game, set that Solemn Judgment, and then pass it back to us. We're going to draw another Threatening Roar, so at least we're not immediately dead, and we are now going to Foolish Burial for the Dandelion to get up the tokens. I am just kind of thinking, okay, I need to put up a wall. I'm not seeing any help from draws. And I need to start taking action, otherwise I'm just going to lose the game. So we do get the 2 tokens up. I'm thinking, okay, maybe I can attribute one of the tokens for a Gigaplant and try and make some progress on that next turn. I'll be able to keep him alive because of Threatening Roar. Feels pretty good to me. Our opponent is going to draw a Raikou for turn. He'll think for a little bit, and then because he has that Judgment set, he is fearlessly going to play into my 1 back row and normal summon the Fossil Dyna. I'm glad I actually did that Foolish Burial sooner rather than later, because now I definitely have my tokens. I wouldn't have been able to do that with Fossil Dyna on the field. And sure, he's going to try and swing, but hey, that's why we have Threatening Roar, right, folks? Wrong. Our opponent has Solemn Judgment, and he is going to be shutting down our turn. Our board is completely clear. He has a DD Crow to stop some shenanigans, and now we do draw that Supervise, and I am thinking, man, if only I still had a Dandy token, we'd be in business. We'd be winning the game on the spot, but instead we're going to have a little bit more trouble. So I'm going to fire the Heavy Storm now. I do have the True Nade in case he draws further back row, but I feel like I'm in a position where I absolutely need to survive. And just on the off chance that that is a MST or a Dust Tornado, I have to get rid of it. I have to. There's just no other choice, folks. Now, you could say, oh, well, you know, Young Puds, Dionysus, you had that one trap set for a while and he didn't do anything to it. But when you're playing a deck like Gigavise, where so many of your combos, so much of your high impact play comes from face-up spell cards, from equip spells, from continuous spells, your opponent would do well to hold their back row removal. So I am still afraid of it, and I am going to fire the Heavy Storm now. It is just a deep prison, so I'm feeling like, hey, you know, that was kind of a waste of a Heavy Storm, but what are you going to do? We have to live. So I'm going to set a Threatening Roar and pass it back to our opponent. He is going to put the Fossil Dyna in defense and then swing with the Sirocco. That's okay by me. I will let it through because it's not game damage, and I just need that Threatening Roar to prevent us from losing. Now we draw a Hidden Armory for turn. So what are we going to do here? We have the knock. We have the Hidden Armory. He does have a face down. That looks like a very tempting thing to knock. Think about what you'd do, and I'll tell you, I think it's definitely correct. We're just going to Hidden Armory and get a Mark of the Rose. Mark of the Rose is going to be live. Lots of stuff to banish for that. And we don't have our normal summon yet, so no sense in using the mark right now. You know, I just think that we need Mark to stick, and like we need to have a big swing. So even though we could do something like, oh, Mark Sirocco, run over the Fossil Dyna, we're going to have to give back the Sirocco afterwards. And then our opponent is either going to be tributing it off or synchro summoning with it. So that's just not going to be impactful enough for us to win the game in this very behind position. We also do have that Threatening Roar sticking around, so we're confident that we're going to get at least one more turn. And in fact, we do. Our opponent is going to draw another Dimensional Prison and then just go right into battle phase and try and swing for game. We are going to stop that with the Threatening Roar. Our opponent is going to set another D-Prison, very disciplined, keeping the Raikou set, knowing that it is going to present a problem if I am pushing for a game in any way. And now we are going to draw maybe the best possible draw here, a Different Dimension Reincarnation. So this is going to be the second puzzle line of the video. Pause the video, take a second to think about it. You do have the advantage of knowing that our opponent does have a DD Crow, but we always want to be playing around DD Crow at least games 2 and 3 anyways. So take a moment and find a line to win through every possible eventuality. I'll give you a couple seconds to think about it. Make sure you've paused. 3, 2, 1. And here we go. Let me show you what I did. I think this is 100% the correct line. It's going to play through everything he has. First, we're going to giant true nade. Get that back row out of here. Say, get it out of here, dog. Get rid of it. Then we are going to mark the rows, banishing, and this is very important, the dandelion. And we are going to steal the fossil dyna, and then we are just going to tribute it off for Gigaplant. Now we are allowed to special summon. So what are we going to make here with the Gigaplant? We are going to give it a supervise and bring back Lonefire Blossom. It's important that we got rid of the dandelion because, and again, like I said, this is very important. If we only had one Lonefire Blossom in the graveyard, then our opponent would be able to DD Crow and punish us. We also don't want to banish the Gigaplant here because we're going to need that dandelion. So our opponent is going to chain DD Crow to Gigaplant. I guess he doesn't know it targets. That's definitely a mistake on his part, but I am very, very pleased to say that unlike the last video where our opponent's mistakes cost them the game, this is a mistake that just straight up does not matter. So anyways, we are going to Lonefire here for Copy Plant, and then we are going to DDR, discarding that Nobleman of Crossout. See, that was a trick. I tricked you guys. You think using that on the Raikou is part of game, but it's not. In fact, the Raikou gets to stay. We're not even going to touch it at all. Here we are going to Synchro 4 an Armory Arm, Synchro 4 Armory Arm, and get our tokens. Tokens don't really matter. We're going to equip the Sirocco with Armory Arm, and then we are going to attack with Gigaplant once. He will take 2,400, and we only take 600 points of damage. Supervise is going to activate to bring back the Gigaplant, and then our opponent takes his 2,400, and then we just run in a second time, get almost out of life points, but our opponent is going to be completely out. So drawing that Royal Oppression as his potential next draw doesn't help. Maybe it hurts to see, and that is going to be the end of the match. So I hope you guys were able to find those lines. I hope it was instructive for you. And now I actually do have one more little bonus game, a little bit of salty content for you guys. Always kind of fun to see that, so I thought I'd show you. So this is a match against a little quick draw deck. We are going to go first. We are going to fire a Hidden Armory and mill a DDR. And here, actually, I am going to get the DDR back. I have the Foolish Burial, so I am just hoping my opponent puts a face-up monster on the field, and then I'm going to be able to Foolish Lonefire, mark Banish Lonefire, and then DDR to summon it back. So that's my game plan here. We're just going to set the Trap Dust Shoot and see what he's got. He draws into a second Raikou for turn. We are going to fire the Trap Dust Shoot. He is going to very nicely summon his whole hand, put it on the field instead of just clicking Reveal. And we are going to see that Starlight Road, that D-Prison, the Quick Draw, the 2 Raikous, and the Card Trooper. I will take a moment to think, but I'm going to send back the Quick Draw here. Just trying to lower the ceiling on his plays, and also maybe encourage him to summon that Card Trooper so we have something to mark. Unfortunately for us, he doesn't, so he is going to set 2 and pass. And now here, we draw a Lonefire, which just makes our life all that much easier. And what are we going to do? I'm going to go ahead and say one more little pop quiz for you guys. What is the line that you would take? It does require your opponent to make a slight mistake, but it is a mistake that's very easy to make. So pause the video for the last time and think about what you would do to win the game here. 3, 2, 1. Let me show you what we do. So we are going to first fire the Heavy Storm. And this is his mistake. When your opponent has seen that you have Starlight Road, so he knows that I know that he has Starlight Road, and I am Heavy Storming anyways, I think here you just have to take the laydown and just let it go through, because he knows that I know that he has the Starlight Road. So maybe he thinks that, oh, well, I agonized it over so long that, you know, I forgot about the road. I'm not really sure, but I think you have to assume that if your opponent is Heavy Storming into a known Starlight Road, they're up to no good. Unfortunately, he just makes the straightforward play, which, again, I'm not trying to flame my opponent. I'm not trying to be mean here. I think it's, you know, like you're playing Starlight Road for Heavy Storm. your opponent activates Heavy Storm, it's so hard to not Starlight Road here. I'd compare it to like you're playing poker and you've got a very nice flush, and it's so hard to fold. Even if you think your opponent might have a full house, a flush feels so good, So our opponent is going to make that mistake and bring out the Stardust Dragon. So now we have something that we can steal with Mark of the Rose. We're going to Foolish for Dandelion because we drew the Lonefire. We really have a very high ceiling play. We're going to activate Lonefire, get a second Lonefire, get a Copy Plant, and here we are going to Synchro for 7 to get a guaranteed Supervise Search. I gotta say, folks, anytime I get to reveal the 3 Supervise off Power Tool Dragon, it always feels so good. Even if I don't have any follow-up, I'm just like, yes, I am summoning a monster that is a powerful board presence, a big body, it's demanding you clear it, and it's also searching me a key combo piece. That just like, that doesn't feel like 2010 Yu-Gi-Oh, folks. I don't know what else to say. Anyways, we are now going to DDR to bring back the Lonefire after we banished it to steal his Stardust. I know that's a deep prison, but we're also just feeling very insulated now. The Lonefire is going to get us Gigaplant, and then we are going to Gigaplant into Lonefire Blossom, right into Titanial. I don't want to overextend. I also just want to have the Titanial up to stop the deep prison. So our opponent is going to feel us attack with everything. We're going to attack with the Stardust first. If he wants to use Raiko's effect, we can negate it with Stardust, and then it is off the field because it was summoned by Road. It cannot be brought back. So we will stop the Raikou, and now we're going to attack with Gigaplant first. If he lets that through and then he tries to deprison something else, then we're going to be able to bring back the Gigaplant, and we are going to be able to have game damage on board. Our opponent, thankfully, is too smart for that and is just going to let us attack with everything, and then he'll live on 500. In end phase, he does try to bring back the Stardust, but then I remind him that you are not allowed to do that. He's going to draw a Brain Control for turn. That is not going to help him anything against his against this Titanial, so he is going to scoop it up, and then, in fact, he is going to quit the match because Gigavise is just too powerful, and hey, I can't blame the guy. So this was some interesting games. I had a lot of fun playing these. I had a lot of fun finding these lines. Like I said, especially that first one, I definitely think there is a better line. I hope you guys were able to find the lines, and it helps you guys win some more games. Maybe you'll see some lines that you didn't see before. Maybe you appreciate that there's a even higher ceiling to this deck than you thought. But anyways, that's all I have for you guys today. Please subscribe if you haven't already. It really means a lot to me to see that number continuing to go up. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a comment if you have any questions, if you have a better line, if you have a worse line, if there's anything you'd like to see, any content in the future, definitely drop that in the comments. I do read every single comment, and when I see a video suggestion, I'm always willing to make it. I know a lot of you guys are asking for my deck list. That is coming soon. Also, the Chess Prime tournament review content, that is coming soon. And I think we're going to have even something more than that, which is going to be very special coming for you guys. So stay tuned to the channel. Exciting things are coming. A lot more Shameless Hypebeast Gigavise content is coming down the line. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great week. And this is Dionysus, aka Young Puds, signing off.